Hey guys, so it's Kai from Mood Crew Creations. I'm here. I'm going to show you how to do buffalo plaid with double-sided tape to make it easy. I hate Mod Podge. It is a devil. So I like to do it with, let me grab one. I like to do it with double-sided tape. It just comes out so much cleaner. Super crisp lines. You can do it all in one session. You don't have to wait for anything to dry, and it only takes one coat of glitter. What you'll need is some sort of cutting tool. I like a paintbrush that is on the thicker side. This one just happens to have glue in it. A tumbler. I paint it with matching my lightest color. So I'm going to do green and black today. So I painted it green. I like painter's tape. Or I even have super thin painter's tape, which is for like airbrushing and stenciling and stuff. And then double-sided tape. I got this from Amazon. I think it was like a 5 or 8 pack. I've gotten a bunch of it. It comes in different sizes. Depending on the size of the cup, depends on the size you want. My go-to is 1 inch. Sometimes if I want a little bit bigger, this one is about 1.5 inches, a little over 1 1/4 inches. So depending on the size you want, is the size you're gonna pick. So this is a 20-ounce skinny, and this is the 1 inch. And we are going to be doing a 30-ounce skinny today. So, I don't know. The 1 inch is usually my go-to. So I think we'll just stick with that. Like I said, it comes in multi-packs with tons of different sizes. They're also great for stripes. I just did this one right now, and look how clean. And I didn't even seal it, you guys. Like, you don't even need sealer till the very end. Another helpful tool is a ruler. And let's get going. You can use a cup caddy. I did not buy this. Well, I bought the pieces. It is a drawer organizer with baby poo noodles cut and just slipped on. And it holds my cups really well. So I do this part without gloves because the tape sticks to my hands super bad and will rip the gloves, or just is a mess. So you don't need a cup caddy if you don't want to, but it's really helpful to use. So double-sided tape, clear, sticky on one side, smooth on the other. So I use the rim as my guide to try to be as straight as possible for my first one. And I leave a slight little gap around my rim, and that just makes sure that when we epoxy, 1, that we get a good seal, but 2, then when it comes time to epoxy, we can get that nice smooth rim. So I just roll it, and that's kind of why like the cup caddy is nice, is because you can just roll along. And this is not a true skinny. It's our typical skinny where it has that slight taper. So you will get a few puckers in there. Now I do want to overlap just slightly so that we aren't going to have a gap in the tape. I just cut it with my tool and press it down. Now I'm going to rub everything down. If you have a pretty good, usually the first few rows we won't have it, but if you have a pretty good wrinkle or crease, slice it and then rub it down. If you're using glitter, like white glitter, and you just rub it and you see a little wrinkle, once you glare, if you still see it, you'll still see it after the epoxy. So there's a few tricks. You can epoxy and then just cut a little square and do more glitter there, and then re-epoxy or seal it with like quick coat. But best is just to go ahead and splice it and then rub it down. So then the next row, I just go ahead and I line it up with my first row. And we use each row as a guide. That's why you want your first row to be as straight as possible. And this stuff is sticky. Ooh. That's why it's always easier to do it without gloves. And you can go ahead and splice when you're done, or you don't have to. So I have a slight gap right there. This is when painting my cup close to a color that my lightest color is gonna help. It will blend in. So I'm just rubbing it, rub, rub, rub. See, I have a little ripple right there. So I just take my X-Acto knife and I slice, and then it rubs flat. And again, that will keep us from getting those ugly creases that we might see with the glitter. So I just do it all the way down. And this one and cutting the actual squares is the part that takes the longest. I promise it does get faster. It does get easier. And it will go faster if you're not standing here talking to yourself on a live. I don't know who came up with this. I came up with this over a year ago because I saw all these people using this double-sided tape for stripes, and I'm like, man, I hate glue. So if they can use that for stripes, it's gotta be able to be used for plaid. And so my very first plaid was trying double-sided tape for the first time, and it turned out perfect. I mean, I had to Pinterest the pattern because I was like, shoot, I don't even know what square goes what, but it turned out awesome. I call it the lazy plaid. That's what I've always called it. I've had the live on Facebook for a while, but I thought, why not share it with my new YouTube channel? I'm not saying I'm the one that came up with it because I don't know if I am. I just hadn't seen others do it this way. Now tons of people are, which is great because why struggle with glue or taping a bunch of ways? Like, okay, rub, rub, rub. See, that is a nasty crease that will show. So just smooth it out. Again, overlap. After a while, you'll be like, screw the cup caddy, because your tape just likes to stick to it. I mean, that's the purpose of it, is it's double-sided tape. It's supposed to stick. So it's doing its job. So I like double-sided tape. It sticks really well. I only need one coat of glitter. Super clean lines. And easy to use. I don't have to wait for anything to dry. If I don't like this size, I can cut it again. If I mess up, it's really easy to fix, you guys. And as someone who messes up, or we all have those bad craft days where things just don't go right, then we need something a little more forgiving like this. I've done it where I've pulled off the wrong square, and later on you'll get what I'm saying, because who knows, I might do it here. Every once in a while I do it. And you can just pop it back on and fix it. It's super easy. So I'm just rubbing. I just like to rub as I go. I feel like if I just started taping everything and then go back and do it, I'll probably miss some. me move this just a little more. There we go. So I hope you guys are finding the videos helpful. I am a new YouTube channel, so please share. Share, like the video, because once I get so many followers, I can do these live, which is so much easier. I like doing lives better than pre-recorded. Plus, I love to help people. So we do this, and then you'll also need, I forgot to mention, 2 colors of glitter. Not too close. If they are too close, then they will actually just blend and it becomes a kind of a mess. I learned it the hard way with a blue and a gray. So you need 2 colors. We're doing black and a bluish green today. And then you'll also need some sort of container to mix your mixture in. I prefer clear because then I can get an easier idea of my 50-50 or not. Okay, so now that you're at the end, you have a couple options. This is a 30 ounce and these are about 1 inch size. So you notice I have the gap. So you can do a few things. You can leave it like this, and you can do a solid color on the bottom. You can also ombre the bottom, which is what I did in this one. So therefore you can wait. Or because this was a multi-pack, you can actually take one of the thinner ones and go around the edge and do a smaller square. Which I don't have any plaids right now that have it done because they've all gone to homes. So you can do either way. This one will probably end up getting ombre, so I'm not going to do the bottom. And then the bottom, I always, if I choose to do the thin line, then those will actually become like quarter squares to where it finishes the plaid pattern, but they're smaller. And then I pick one of the colors from the 2 bottom colors, and that will be my very bottom. So it just depends on what you want to do, but you do have options. So next is our lines. Now, you have a couple different ways. You can hold a ruler, which is how I started doing it, and it looks straight, and you slice it on both sides, and you go all the way around and keep slicing. But the thing is sometimes I'd have one that would be slightly off or in size, and I didn't like that because I'm kind of OCD. So there's other ways you can do it. Other ways is, this is painter's tape that is about the same size. It is almost identical. It's slightly smaller. So you can eye it to make it straight, pop it on there, and you're gonna need a couple more pieces. This will be your first one. And then I do not butt it up slightly right against it because of the fact that it is a tapered cup. So I give a slight gap. And I go around. I always try to pick a tape that is close to the size of the double-sided that I used. So then what I do is I pull off the middle one. Now what we're doing is we're gonna see if this is gonna come out equal or if we're gonna have to adjust our stripe sizes. Sometimes we have to adjust it depending on the size of the cup and the size of the squares. But that is why not cutting right away makes it really good. every once in a while you also might end up with an odd number, to where then you kind of have to adjust. You know, you also have two options there too. If you have an odd number and you have ones, you can make it a bigger section, and if they want a name or a quote, that's where you can put it down. Or you can adjust and break it into 3 smaller sections. So it's just what you want to do or what the customer ordered. You know, decals are there to help us cover up mistakes if we need to. You know, why work harder? Be smarter. Again, you can see, you guys, I'm not... Ooh, I had like so much extra tape, didn't I? So you see how I have like an awkward size? So this is where you sit there and you move your tape around to kind of evenly space them out. Let's move that one this way. And you just slide them all to adjust them all. So it's not just like, ooh, we got one funky size. Okay, so this is it. So now you can either use your ruler and cut if you're happy, or you can use a smaller tape if you don't have the bigger tape and you happen to have smaller tape, which is really weird because most of the time you're not going to have this tape. But if you do, and you didn't have the bigger tape, or you wanted to use save your painter's tape for something else, you can use the pinstriping tape and bring it across the top and come down and around. And then you would star it, and you can use this as your cut line. Either way, it will work. And either way, it will let you adjust the sizes if you need to adjust them. So I'm just going to double check my squares that I'm happy with the sizes and that they all look straight. Because that's one thing, is you don't want to cut it and then be like, oh, look, that's super crooked. Okay, so those look good. So now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to stand up so that I hopefully do this better. And the thing is you want to make sure you're cutting through that paper, because if not, you're going to be going back and having to recut it, which I always have to do at least once. Always. And please don't cut yourself. For me, the hardest part is like not slipping with the ruler. I need like a little vise. A little vise to hold my ruler. Perfect. Gosh, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's like not the best sound. Cool thing is if you're not sure if you cut that line, just peel back the tape and you can see if you cut the painter's or cut the double-sided tape or not. Oh, we're gonna go on this side. And even if you slip and you're like, if you slip and you're like, ooh, that's not where I was supposed to cut. Guess what? It's not set in stone. It's okay. Like, you didn't pull the paper off yet. You're fine. Okay, so if I got all my squares done, I'm going to pull my tape and I'm done with that. Now, if you're doing a bunch of buffalo plaids for the day, save the tape. Reuse it. So that is that. Well, I got an itchy little nose right now. Let me get a little cup just as my little trash cup because you'll see why in a sec. Okay, so one other thing I like to do is I do like to start with my dark glitter, and I also like tweezers. Tweezers help me get up the corners of the squares. So that's that. I do like a glove just to rub the glitter in. It's just my preference. Like, especially after a while, you get kind of sweaty and the glitter's gonna start sticking to you and you're just a mess. Let's see, where did I put my tweezers? There we go. Trash cup full of squares. So I just start on the top. You can start on the top or you can start on the bottom, but you're always gonna start with the same row because if not, you're gonna mess yourself up. So you peel off every other square. Now see, this part did not cut right and it peeled off a tiny little section. I'm gonna show you because of the appens right there. So what I'm just gonna do is I cut that little piece off of that square and I'm just gonna put it down just to cover that piece of tape so I get a straight line. Because if not, then I'm gonna have like a funky thing. I mean, that's fine. You can put your decal there. That's okay. But if not, that's how we can fix it, is we just put the paper back. See, and there's already one I did not cut all the way through. So don't put your razor blade or cutting tool all the way away because you might need it. I usually always need it at least once. So you can do one row. I like to take all the squares off that I need for that color. Then I glitter. So we skip one entire column. Again, start on the same row we started with. If you're gonna start at the top, do not start at the bottom of your next row. It will throw you off and mess you up. Trust me, I do it. So I just use my tweezers are literally just to get the corner of the paper to lift it up. But this, you guys, is how we get those clean, crisp lines. Because when you use tape and Mod Podge, you're pulling up the tape, but the thing is sometimes it tears. Unless you sit there and actually cut the dry glue and glitter with a knife, it will lift some of it. And then you're having to sit there and brush squares like perfectly. I'm not that perfect. That would drive me nuts. And then you have to do multiple coats. No, thank you. No, thank you. So we skipped one whole column, started at the top again, and we are just going all the way down. See, I did not cut good on this one. There we go. You should never do that with your tweezers, but these tweezers are like majorly bent because they were dropped. It's like the worst thing ever because they were the best for weeding. So they're like ruined. So I do tap these on a table now. you're going to start sticking to your cup, by the way. So skip a column, start at the top again, or if you started at the bottom, start at the bottom again. The fellow square lifts up, just rub it down. It does not take that much to put it down. Okay, so we got all the squares off for that color. Ooh, let me fix this one. Okay, so all the squares are done for our dark color, which is going to be black. Today I'm using Recollections black because it's just a quick, cheap black glitter, and I'm out of my black hollow that I usually use for my glitter addiction. So I'm waiting for it to come in. So this one's gonna have to do. So I just take a little bit and I just use my finger and I press and rub. Now this is what gets us, one, not using that much glitter, but two, that is what makes sure that we get the glitter down and good coverage. If you're just, like I'm pressing, you guys. Press, rub. Make sure that it is good and filled in. Don't be gentle. You want to make sure we got that coverage. Those are random hair. So I just rub. And by the way, your cup will stick to the paper. So you can just start and go whatever direction you like. I like to do a whole row at a time. I usually start at the top or at the bottom and just rub the glitter all the way down. See how little how far it can get me, you know what I mean? Like even when you're low on a glitter, you can still do this method as long as you have enough to make your mix. But luckily, you honestly don't need that much. And you guys, this is so easy. I host monthly cup nights where people come to learn to make their own tumbler, like never done tumblers before at all. And my last one, someone asked, I want to make a black and white plaid. Luckily they chose a skinny tumbler because they get options, and I only will do it on skinnies. And I literally showed her, okay, tape off your cup. This is how you're going to tape it. She taped it. When she was done taping, I came back and I showed her how to cut the squares. Then I go around, I help other people. When she's done with that, I showed her, okay, now you're going to start with the dark color. And I only gave her one color at a time for the colors that she picked. And she picked sugar and black holographic, and it was so pretty. I had to do it. I had to make my own. Okay, so we're all covered. So this is where I take my brush. This is why I kind of like a little bit on the stiffer side, is I just try to get off any excess I can. And of course, today my glitter is like, I'm going to stick to everything. So I just try to scrape off any extra. That you can. But you guys, she did this. She did a black and white plaid, and it looked pretty flawless. And she did it in less than 90 minutes. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh. And I fell in love with the cup after she had like decals picked out. I had to make my own from hers. Like, I was like, dude, this is awesome. You've never touched a cup before, and you just made a plaid. Like, it took me forever before I would touch a plaid. Man, this glitter is just static. So this sheet you can actually save. So next, so we always start dark to light. So I like a clear container. This is where we're gonna do our 50-50 mix. So I like a clear container because then I can see, okay, I have that much of one color, then I go down, and I have that much of another color. This is super clean. I must have a lot of static in here tonight. Let's just put that on and shake. Oh, that's super pretty. So one thing about this green glitter is it is actually a slight green, slight blue color shift, but it also looks totally different under epoxy. Like right now, it's almost like a cloudy. It is so dark and beautiful. In a minute, I will show you the glitter sample under epoxy. So I just do a 50-50 mix, and sometimes you're gonna be like, you're gonna mix it and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that might be too much. Well, if it was a 50-50 mix, it should be fine. If not, then go ahead and add a little more of what you think. Now the thing is the one we're using is the 50-50 mixture next, so you don't have to change the papers. You can use the same paper. All right. I have my glitter sample book real fast. I'll show you what color. It's a darker green, but it is super pretty. It is this one. It's super dark on camera, of course, but it's really pretty, and I think it's just one of those darker greens that is just gonna be really cool. I don't know. So for the pattern, I'm just like a total mess. So for the pattern, any square that touches your dark square is a mix. So you can start wherever you want. Again, that works for you. Get your trash cup for your little squares, because if not, you will have these little square papers everywhere. Now, seal or don't seal. You can seal your glitter if you feel like you need to. I used to seal this in the beginning when I first started doing plaids this way. But I found that one, I was sitting here waiting for my sealant to dry because I didn't want, you know, it's almost like a glue. Like it would have, if it was wet, then technically the glitter would stick on top of whatever is wet. So I got to where I was like, you know what? I'm going to be brave. I'm not going to seal it. And it ended up working out better not to seal it. So I don't seal until the very end when I've done all the colors. That's when I seal. Okay, so next row, next column. Anything touching the black, and you're always going to be like, oh look, I got them all, and then you're going to spin it around. Oh, missed a square every time. So I don't seal it until I've done all the colors. Then I will. Yeah, this black, man, tonight is just super staticky. It is sticking to everything. Normally, the paper is almost like super clean with that brush, or with a brush. But this black is just a mess tonight. Of course. So isn't this nice? Because if you were doing Mod Podge, you'd have to let all those black squares dry, and then you'd have to come back and take off certain pieces of tape, but you couldn't take off all your pieces of tape. Even if you did the vinyl, there's a cup maker who makes vinyl stencils, and she has a plaid one, and you literally cover your entire cup with vinyl. And then you pull up the certain squares at a time, and then you Mod Podge or somehow glue only certain squares. But the thing is you have to wait for the dang glue to dry. Not only that, like, people don't, they're like, oh, my glue's dry after like 30 minutes. You gotta wait like a couple days, because if you don't let Mod Podge dry all the way, it's gonna mold. It's moisture, it's water-based. It can mold under your epoxy. So Mod Podge, you have to let dry a few days. And people who've been doing like Mod Podge cups, they've been having issues where it just like pops off. Oh my gosh, my customers had their cup for like a month, a couple months, 9 months. Didn't put it in the dishwasher, and all of a sudden everything just popped off. Their seal broke and water got in, and that's water-based, so it just popped all the epoxy completely off. So I try not to use Mod Podge unless I absolutely have to. Like, even my pencil cups, I don't Mod Podge. I only Mod Podge to touch up spots. I do spray adhesive for my pencil cups. Guys, we're almost done. Touching, touch, touch. Even I have to like double check myself, and I've done a bunch of these suckers. The first time I did this, I had these squares everywhere. And it was bad because I was like, I have 2 kids. Right now it's 5 and almost 3, but before it was like 3.5 and a baby, or a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old, you know. Oh, it was crazy. And so I was like, dinner, nap time, entertaining them, and I'd come back, and so the cup took me like 4 hours. But it's because I was doing like all these things with my kids and being like a wife, and then I just come back to it at my own time, which is nice. I have my overlap and the edge. Okay. So like my first time doing it, it took me forever. Forever. All right. So hard to do this without music. But when I do music, then I get muted or removed, so no more music. Oh goodness, these tweezers. My son had a splinter after dinner, so my good tweezers are in the bathroom in the house. as I throw them at me. Okay. Ha! Did it. Oh my gosh, I have these little papers everywhere. Okay. So now you get to do your middle color. Now here's the thing. You can still rub it over. You can still rub it over the black. It's okay. It's not going to hurt it. And we're going to use our little brush to get off the little extra. So it's okay. If you want to be really careful, like when it's super drastic colors like black and white, you can be extra careful and just do that one little row, slide it down, and then come this way, or just do a little at a time, like whatever you feel comfortable with. It's everyone's like, oh my gosh, you guys, it's plaid, it's super scary. It's okay. It doesn't bite you back. This is also the last time you can tap your cup, because your lighter, like this is a mixture, so it's fine. The dark color was by itself, so it's fine. But that light color, no more tapping, because then you'll get contamination. Unless it's going to go in your junk bottle, which is totally fine. But, you know, try to save as much glitter as you can. It's one of the reasons I don't do like the epoxy method. I just see all like the glitter get wasted when it like falls underneath into like drips of epoxy, or like people don't pick up the glitter and then they do other glitter and you're like, oh my gosh. Glitter's expensive. Even cheap glitter is expensive. Even with a discount, it's expensive. But if y'all want a discount, use Moo Crew for My Glitter Addiction and you'll get 20% off. This is also called Maleficent. It is super pretty under a pocket. It's just crazy how it looks in the bottle compared to how it looks under epoxy. It is night and day. And then also there is a slight blue color shift to it. So depending on your base will also depend on the final outcome. Again, I am rubbing and pressing because I want to make sure that I only have to do one coat. So let me pop this. Minus my little papers. They're trying to hitchhike into my little jar. Now, I do a jar because when I do plaids, if I like it or someone repeat orders, I save my mixture. I just write on my cup what colors they are. All my colors are numbered based off like their samples. So I just literally write the actual numbers, like 58 and 31 on the lid. So then if I have to mix it again, I know the numbers, and I always know because it's 50-50 mixture. So it's not like it's like, oh shoot, how much of this did I mix with that? Nope, always 50-50, so I don't have to worry about it. Ooh, last one, guys. Make sure you rub it in really good. I am not gentle. Okay. So this is where I take my brush. See this color? It's coming off so good. Okay. So, and I just brush off my extra. Now on the black, I am also brushing the extra off. And you guys, it is coming off so easy. I'm not taking that black glitter off either. Now again, if you are like, my luck is not gonna come off, spray seal it, pop it in front of a fan, let it dry really good before you do your second coat, just so that your next coat of glitter doesn't just happen to glue on top of your black or your darker color. Now, when you start doing your second color and you're cleaning up, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, look how clean those lines are. Like, that is just what hit me with doing plaids or lines like this, is the fact that it's just so crisp and so perfect. Because I'm OCD. My husband is one to be like, oh, honey, that's a great cup. Did you see that mistake? With plaids, he won't even come near. He's like, dang, girl, that looks awesome. He does not even try. Unless it comes to the decal and he's like, ooh, babe, probably should have done a different color, or I don't know, something. He calls himself quality control, but I fired my quality control many times. Quality control before it's got its final coat on it. Like, I look over it, I think it looks perfect. And then he comes and I'm like, what the hell are you looking at? He tried to come and say, oh my gosh, it's super easy what you do. Let me help you. I'll like base coat your cups for you. White. Y'all, he had to strip that cup 4 times because he could not base coat my cup for me. And it's one where it wasn't like, oh, I'm putting glitter on it, so it's okay. No, I had to like put a special paint on top, so it had to be like a perfect base coat. He's like, screw this. I'm not doing this anymore. I was like, it's not that easy now, is it? That's just the first part. He grew an appreciation. But he's pretty awesome. So yeah, just until you think you're done. Again, like I said, the stiffer the brush, I think the better. See, dude, that black is sticking to everything. It is sticking to the bottom like crazy. That's okay. So, I mean, look, even my handle, it is covered. I've never had a glitter do that. So I just save this. And I'm so covered in black glitter, I am even going to switch gloves because this is gonna ask for a mess. I mean, it is so bad. Let me get my little, I even have a little dustpan that is like dedicated to glitter. So then I honestly dump it into like my junk bottle. Now, if y'all don't have a junk bottle or know what a junk bottle is, when you have glitter that spills and there's no saving it because it's like contaminated with other colors, don't throw it away. Don't waste it. Put it in a jar, preferably one with a lid, and save it, and then just add to it over time. And I call it like, it's like you know, it's like one of those tubes where you just throw everything in that you got. It's the same thing. I am covered in black glitter. That's okay. It happens. But you guys, we're only on our last color. Look how pretty. So now there is no, let me get my last paper. There is now no more tapping of the cup. No more tapping unless it's going in your junk cup. So I don't even put my light color paper down yet because I don't want to, yeah, I switched tweezers. Those ones are driving me nuts. So now I'm just going to take off all the remaining squares because you guys, we can't mess it up. We've already taken off all the other ones. Now, if I were on my other color and I took off a square and I'm like, crap, that's the wrong freaking square. Put it back. Press it down. It will stay. I've done it so many times. It's fine. I promise. I knocked down my trash cup. It's like Rachel Ray when she does 30-minute meals. She's got her like trash bowl. Got my trash cup. I love Rachel Ray. So funny because by the time you get to your last color, which is the lightest, you're like, man, I don't have that many papers to pull off. So weird. Okay, all of them are pulled off. Oh, I didn't put my paper down. See? Crap. Okay, only a little paper for my junk jar. Ha. Okay. And of course, I tapped the damn cup. So we're just gonna pour, not tap. So if you want to be more careful with putting it on, be more careful. I totally get it. That row's done. Cool thing is you're literally only covering every other column. So you can put a little bit on each one. Ooh, and then just dump your whole jar on one square. That works. But again, just tilt. We are not tapping, people. Don't tap. Don't do it. You know you want to. I want to every time. But you can't. Rotate and move on. It's like if someone's got the chicken pox or they got an itch. Like tattoos. Whoever's got tattoos. You get a fresh tattoo and it's healing. And when it starts drying out, oh my gosh, that itch is so killer. And you want to scratch, but don't scratch because you could tear the skin or scratch some of the ink out and you don't want to do that. Then you messed up your brand new tattoo you paid for. But you want to so bad. I want to tap the damn cup. But you know you can't. So look, it looks like a total mess, right? It's okay, I promise. Put the cup aside. Save your glitter. Alright, so that's done. Let me shut this. The other glitter under my table I know is going to be my junk glitter. That's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this paper because I'll just do it onto that. Because that got all tapped into it and everything. So this is where I take my brush And now you can tap it if you want. And that way you can kind of see the squares. I mean, a little bit of glitter. It looks like it's a lot more than it really is, I swear. So the mixed squares, I still brush off because I don't want it to be that covered with the light glitter. And look, it totally cleans it off. But I do brush off my mixed squares because I don't want it to be that mix of, I don't want that much of the light glitter sitting on top of it. Because you want it to look like a 50-50 mix. You don't want it to be like, ooh, look, two really light colors, and then you got a dark color. And I kind of try to let gravity work in my favor. I don't brush up. I always am brushing down somehow. I have like a string. Sliver of the tape. You guys, you can see I am not being gentle when I am brushing this glitter. That's it, you guys. Super simple, double-sided tape plaid. No glue, one coat of glitter. So then you can, I would honestly, if I was not going to ombre the bottom, what I would do is I would spray adhesive and I would probably do the black. I usually do the darker color for the whole bottom. This one I am going to ombre, so I am not going to. But you could. It is your call. And that is it. I hope you liked it. We did this in an hour, and that's with me talking. Like, imagine you can do it super fast. You could even knock out a couple if they're the same color scheme. Just do them all at the same time. Another thing is now I will spray seal this once I'm completely done glittering. Actually, I'll spray seal it now, and then I will ombre using a spray sealer as my glue for my first coat of ombre. Or of the sealer. So spray seal it at least twice before epoxy. One, it will absorb less epoxy. It will go on smoother, but then also the color is not shifting. So even my solid color cups, I still seal because then it's one, it also, if it's chunky, you don't know if it's going to repel your epoxy or not. So why not seal it? And then you just have a good coat of epoxy. So seal twice, let dry pretty good, at least 30 minutes. I use Rustoleum clear 2 times, matte or glossy. I don't discriminate for the finish. I really don't care. The only time I pay attention to finish is if it's a spray paint cup. Then you must match the finish to the sealer or the top coat. So if it's a glossy paint, you have to have glossy sealer. Or if it is a satin or a matte, or I mean flat, you have to use matte, or else you will get these like creases. It's really weird, but it's a reaction from the different finishes. So yeah, so really cool cleanup is literally just take your paper and fold it and throw it away. And aside from me being covered in black glitter, it's all cleaned up. So seal twice, let dry good, epoxy, or ombre, whatever you're gonna do. And then you can go ahead and decal. If you find a flaw, good luck. I don't think there are, but if you happen to find a flaw in your cup somewhere or something, put your decal there. If you guys have any questions, please leave comments on the video and I will hop on and try to answer as fast as I can. I will also post in the description the links of Amazon of the double-sided tape and also my glitter discount code and epoxy discount code for KS Resin. That's who I like to use. And I think that's it. Let me know if you guys have questions, like, share the video. This is Kai from Muku Creations with my lazy plaid. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you some courage to try it because it's super easy. My 4-year-old can do it. Well, she's 5 now. My 5-year-old can do it. So you can do it, I promise. Have a good night, and I will talk to you later. Bye.